I'm Adrian Seet, and you're tuning in to Nightline, the top stories. Don't burden the people, Prime Minister reminds political leaders. And number of flood victims drop in 2 states. Thanks for joining us. Leaders were reminded not to sideline or burden the people after gaining power. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said the people should enjoy the blessings of this country and not get stuck in the drama of fights between leaders, including politicians. Datuk Sri Anwar also stressed that the country has to be saved, regardless of the people's race or religion, and definitely not only for the upper class.
Dan saya masih ingat apa dia ajar bila kita jadi ketua, jangan lupa orang susah, jangan bagi dia mengalir air mata. Betul tak? Saya ucap terima kasih kerana jasa rakan-rakan termasuk masyarakat India di Tambun lah yang boleh saya jadi ketua atau Perdana Menteri sekarang.
The Prime Minister, who is also Tambun MP, said this when attending the Tambun Parliamentary's 2023 Pongal celebration at the Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan Tamil Klebang, Cemor on Sunday. Datuk Sri Anwar, inspired by his favourite Tamil song from the movie Nan Anayital by M.G. Ramachandran, also said that the lyrics of the song tells that once one has power, they should not let the people down. Thus, he always reminds his friends to use their power to help those in need. In the meantime, he said Malaysia also needs to change to attract investors, who will in turn benefit the people through job opportunities and economic growth in the future. He stressed that it was paramount to embrace the Madani nation concept so that the country would progress.
This is our new policy, new direction for this country. Saya coin this masyarakat Madani because it is a common citizens' effort untuk bangkitkan negara kita supaya maju semula. Pelabur datang.
According to him, since his administration of the country began, more investors from the United States, Europe, China and India had shown keen interest in investing in Malaysia. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Anwar urged the people not to be consumed by the incitement of certain political leaders who wish to see clashes or fights erupt among the multiracial community in the country. He said this is because such things only bring about more harm and will benefit no one.
Balik-balik dia nak suruh gaduh. Melayu suruh gaduh dengan Cina, Cina gaduh dengan India. Saya tegaskan, bila kita gaduh di antara kita, antara kaum, apa yang untung? Rakyat tak untung. Yang gaduh siapa? Orang bawah. Yang suruh gaduh apa? Orang politik di atas.
As such, the Prime Minister urged the multiracial community of the country to respect and celebrate the unity that has been established in order to maintain the harmony that has been achieved so far. After the event, Datuk Sri Anwar and his wife, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail, attended Perak's state-level Chinese New Year open house celebration in Ipoh. The opening ceremony was graced by the Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Muizzuddin Shah. His consort, Raja Permaisuri Perak, Tuanku Zara Salim, was also present. The event was also attended by Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and Perak Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Sarani Mohamad. Other guests, including politicians, ministers and state leaders, also turned up at the event to celebrate the Year of the Rabbit. The leaders then joined Sultan Nazrin and Tuanku Zara Salim in tossing the Yisang, a traditional Lunar New Year dish. After almost 3 years of muted Chinese New Year celebrations, owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, the event was a hive of activity on Sunday, with more than 40,000 guests in attendance. Ang paos were also handed out to children from several orphanages in Perak. On another matter, Datuk Sri Anwar said Pakatan Harapan PH will take into account the views of its component party leaders before deciding to accept sacked UMNO leaders. The Prime Minister, who is also PH chairman, said this was important to preserve cooperation in the unity government.
Ini sebenarnya keputusan dalaman disiplin masing-masing, tetapi tidak ada timbul lagi sebarang pelawaan untuk bersama, dan tentunya sekiranya ada, kita akan teliti dan tentunya mendapat pandangan pimpinan lain dan juga menjaga kerukunan, kedamaian dan juga perpaduan, kerajaan perpaduan. Jadi kita beri pertimbangan yang lebih luas.
Datuk Sri Anwar was speaking to the media after opening the Tambun Parliamentary Constituency Service Centre in Meru Ipoh on Sunday. On Friday, former Rembau MP Khairi Jamaluddin and former Selangor UMNO Liaison Committee Chief Tan Sri Noor Omar were sacked from UMNO. The decision by the party's Supreme Council also saw Sembrong MP Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein and Tebrau Division Chief Datuk Maulizan Bujang suspended for 6 years. Also suspended for the same period were Jempol MP Datuk Sri Muhammad Salim Sharif and former UMNO Information Chief Shahril Sufyan Hamdan. The sacking and suspension of several UMNO members on Friday is valid and was done in accordance with the party's constitution. Party Information Chief Isham Jalil said UMNO lawyers citing the party constitution have said that the sacking and suspension of party members need only be referred to the Supreme Council. In a statement on Facebook, Isham, who is a party Supreme Council member, said other processes involving the disciplinary board and so on were actually only internal management practices. Isham said he was confident that the party disciplinary board had examined available reports and evidence before making a decision, while stressing that the Supreme Council members did not interfere in the investigation process and the decision that followed. Isham was commenting on criticisms by several UMNO leaders that due process was not observed in the council's actions. He added that those who were sacked or suspended, including former Selangor Liaison Committee Chief Tan Sri Noor Omar, can still appeal to the disciplinary board. However, he advised against challenging the board and council, as doing so would only worsen the situation. Meanwhile, former Rembau Member of Parliament Khairi Jamaluddin said he would not appeal his dismissal from UMNO, stating a lack of confidence in the decision made by party president Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi. Khairi also claimed that the party's decision to sack him was not done in a proper manner and did not follow due process, but rather was done at the will of the party's leadership. Although there have been those who had advised him to appeal the decision, Khairi said he has no confidence in the process and further stated that there was no justice within the party. Commenting on his next step following the dismissal from UMNO, Khairi revealed that he has received invitations from other parties, but said he would not make any decision at this time. The number of flood evacuees in Johor and Sabah continued to drop on Sunday, while Pahang saw a slight increase in the number of victims. Currently, around 4,202 people have been evacuated to temporary relief centres in all three flood-affected states. According to the Info Bencana JKM portal, the number of evacuees in Johor has dropped to 2,564 people from 2,660 people. The State Disaster Management Committee Secretariat said that the evacuees are being housed in 31 relief centres in 6 districts. In Sabah, the number of flood victims was recorded at 1,419 victims, being housed in 5 temporary evacuation centres compared to 1,637 victims recorded at 4 p.m. While in Pahang, the number of flood victims in Rompin on Saturday night slightly increased to 219 people at 3 relief centres. Sabah Chief Minister Datuk Sri Haji Noor on Sunday confirmed that he will be leading a local party known as Parti Gagasan Rakyat Sabah or Gagasan Rakyat. He said Gagasan Rakyat was accepted as part of the Gabungan Rakyat Sabah GRS coalition on December the 9th of last year.
Nama dia ialah Parti Gagasan Rakyat Sabah atau nama singkatannya Gagasan Rakyat. Dan insyaAllah kita akan gunakan parti itu untuk kita meneruskan perjuangan sebagai sebuah parti tempatan dan bernaung di bawah Gabungan Rakyat Sabah atau GRS.
He said this to the media after officiating the closing ceremony of the GRS Student Convention and launching of the GRS Student Wing in Kota Kinabalu on Sunday. He also expressed his hope that his move to join Gagasan Rakyat would put various issues, especially on his position as the Chief Minister, to rest. GRS now has 5 component parties, namely Gagasan Rakyat, Parti Bersatu Sabah, PBS, Parti Solidariti Tanah Airku, STAR, Sabah Progressive Party, SAPP, and United Sabah National Organisation, USNO. Dozens killed in twin transport tragedies. This and more from the foreign front when we come back. A rise in violence against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem is feared, following Israeli Benjamin Netanyahu's plans to make it easier for Israelis to acquire firearms. Netanyahu on Saturday announced a series of punitive steps against the Palestinians, including plans to beef up Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank in response to a pair of shooting attacks that killed 7 Israelis and wounded 5 others. The weekend shootings took place towards the end of a month of growing confrontation and followed with an Israeli raid in the Jenin city that killed 9 Palestinians. The Zionist regime also stated it will seal off the attacker's home in preparation ahead of its demolition, a move seen as collective punishment and one that could further increase the violence. In the meantime, another Palestinian has been shot dead by the Zionist regime on Sunday, bringing the number of Palestinians killed by Israeli forces in the West Bank so far this month to 32 people. At least 51 people were killed in 2 separate transport accidents in western Pakistan on Sunday when a bus plunged off a bridge and a boat carrying a class of children capsized. According to authorities, at least 41 people were killed after their bus crashed into a ravine in southwestern Balochistan province, while at least 10 students died in the boating accident in northwestern Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. At the remote site of the bus crash, north of the city of Bela in Lasbela district, officials said 40 corpses were retrieved from the wreckage, alongside 3 injured, one of whom died shortly after. The bus, which had been travelling overnight between Balochistan's provincial capital of Quetta and the southern port city of Karachi, was carrying a total of 48 passengers when it hit a pillar on the bridge and careened off course earlier on Sunday. Meanwhile, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, a boat carrying 25 to 30 students on a day trip from a local madrasa overturned, killing 10 of them. Authorities said all of the dead recovered from the lake were between the ages of 7 and 14, adding that 11 children had been rescued, with 6 in critical condition. However, up to 9 more remained missing in the waters, and rescue operations is currently underway. Former Army Chief and high NATO official Petr Pavel won the second round of the Czech Republic's presidential election on Saturday, becoming the 4th president of the country. The 61-year-old retired general running for office for the first time won 58.3% of the vote, with all voting districts reporting final results, defeating former Prime Minister Andrej Babis. Turnout in the European Union and NATO member country of 10.5 million people was unusually high, topping 70% following an acrimonious campaign marked by controversy. Pavel will take office in March, replacing outgoing Milos Zeman, a divisive figure himself during his 2 terms in office over the past decade, who had backed Babis as his successor. The president of the Czech Republic is chosen in a direct election and serves a term of 5 years. Tennis, the 2023 Australian Open. Novak Djokovic claimed a record-extending 10th Australian Open title on Sunday in Melbourne, where he rode the challenge of Stefanos Tsitsipas to prevail 6-3, 7-6-4, 7-6-5 in the final of the hard-court Grand Slam. With his victory, the Serbian tied Rafael Nadal's record of 22 Grand Slam crowns. Before the final, Tsitsipas' powerful serve had been touted as key to his title chances. Yet it was Djokovic who ended the match with a superior serving record, which included winning 82% of points behind his first delivery compared to 72% for the Greek. Djokovic also struck close to half the unforced errors of Tsitsipas, en route to improving his match record for the season to 12 love. The 35-year-old's triumphant also sealed his return to number 1 in the Pepperstone ATP rankings for the first time since last June. Djokovic will replace Carlos Alcaraz in top spot on Monday after notching his 10th tour-level victory in a row. On to football, the German Bundesliga. Mainz enjoyed a 5-2 win at home over Bochum on Saturday, with South Korea international Lee Jae-sung scoring in the first minute. Lee started the game as a central midfielder against Bochum and Miwa Arena in Mainz and found a chance to score an early goal with a cross from teammate Karim Onisiwo. Mainz were able to extend their lead even further as Sylvan Widmer and Onisiwo scored at the 17th and 28th minutes of the game, ultimately ending the first half with a comfortable 3-0 lead. Onisiwo did not back down in the second half either, as he scored his second goal of the game in the 57th minute. Bochum finally managed to get on the scoreboard in the 70th and 72nd minute with 2 goals in quick succession from Pierre Kunde and Erhan Masovic. That was not enough to turn things around though, as Onisiwo scored another in the 87th minute to complete his hat-trick. Mainz now sit 11th in the table, while Bochum are in the relegation playoff position at 16th. Coming up, Tawau murder victim killed over argument. Stay tuned. Senior Deputy Public Prosecutor and lawyer Datuk Sri Gopal Sri Ram passed away on Sunday at the age of 79. The former federal court judge passed away at 12:15 in the afternoon at a private hospital in Kuala Lumpur. It was reported that Datuk Sri Gopal Sri Ram, who was a former federal court judge, was admitted to the intensive care unit ICU of a private hospital last week for a lung infection. He was the lead prosecutor in former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Mohamad Najib Tun Razak's One Malaysia Development Berhad, 1MDB corruption case, and was also the leading prosecutor for Datuk Sri Mohamad Najib's wife, Datin Sri Rosmah Mansur's corruption trials, involving a solar hybrid project for 369 rural schools in Sarawak and money laundering. Following the passing of the former federal court judge, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has conveyed his condolences to the family of Datuk Sri Gopal Sri Ram. In his Twitter posting on Sunday, the Prime Minister also prayed that the affairs of the late Datuk Sri Ram's family would be eased and for the family to remain strong and resilient in their moment of grief. Dissatisfaction due to an argument at an entertainment centre is believed to be the cause of the murder of an e-hailing driver linked to the arrest of 8 officers and policemen in Tawau, Sabah on Saturday. According to a source quoted by Harian Metro, the cause of the argument at a pub in early January is believed to be due to the victim's dissatisfaction with a senior officer who was believed to be in a relationship with his wife at the time. Previously, it was reported that an unidentified man was found dead beside a white Perodua Myvi at an oil palm plantation in Tawau on January the 16th. In a statement on Saturday, Sabah Police Commissioner Dato' Idris said the Royal Malaysia Police PDRM had set up a special team from Bukit Aman to investigate the case. Authorities, however, did not issue a detailed statement on the case as it was still in the early stages and for fear that it could interfere with the investigation. In Johor, a 29-year-old man has been remanded for 3 days to assist with the probe of a hit-and-run case at kilometre 57 Jalan Batu Pahat, Mersing, which seriously injured a child and an infant, amongst others. Kluang OCPD Assistant Commissioner Bahrain Muhammad Noor said the incident occurred at 7 p.m. on Saturday involving a sedan and a pickup truck. He said both vehicles were heading towards Mersing from Kluang when the pickup suddenly rammed into the back of the sedan, causing it to crash into a tree on the left side of the road. The sedan was driven by a 34-year-old man who suffered head and rib injuries and 3 other passengers, a 37-year-old woman who suffered broken ribs and a broken right arm, while a 6-year-old girl and a 1-year-old girl suffered serious head injuries. They are currently being treated at Hospital Kluang. The suspect, who was left unhurt and is believed to have been drunk at the time, was arrested and had a blood sample drawn for analysis by the chemistry department. The case is now being investigated under the Road Transport Act for reckless driving. Nightline draws to a close this time around. Let's take a look at this international masquerade festival in Bulgaria, where participants from countries across the Balkans wear a wide variety of costume designs. I'm Adrian Seet. Thank you for tuning in and take care.